Guess what I got to do? Guess what I got to do, Robert?
So what are you going to do? Socks?
It's my trademark.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
Right, okay. Let's have a little look on there on Facebook. So we want some questions, don't we, today?
I hope that some people are coming with questions.
That's what I got to do, Robert.
I've
That was on Facebook. Now that was a very long echo.
that was Facebook. I just
No.
went activated it, and now I have to share it.
Okay, so let me just share this out. It's going on Starseed U. It should be coming on the my Nicola Russell one, and then I'll send it to you on. Can you do it that way? Oh, here we go. I'll send it out to you. I think we've got Warren Smith on the line, so I'm going to share it out to Alternative Mental Health, our Cosmic Light. Yeah, if anybody wants to from Facebook, ask to join Cosmic Light Healing. That's our little group, isn't it, Robert?
Cool. Yeah.
And then I'll just do some other little groups.
But interesting that you already had to take your socks off. Just before we got live, you had to take some. So you got the message: take your socks off. That's beautiful. But maybe we can ask the space fairies already in. That's from start.
I think they are. You know, I think they really are, because you've been giggling like nobody's business. We do them on like 5 minutes beforehand, and you don't stop laughing.
Yeah, maybe it's you making me laugh.
It's that energy.
Yeah, definitely.
So yes, Warren, have you got a question on Facebook? Just send a love sign, but give us some questions. I think they really are, because you've been giggling like nobody.
Sorry for that. That was me.
We will get down to some business about what we need to be talking about in a second. So we've got some people on the Remembrance into the Light YouTube channel, which is my channel. So if you're on Facebook and you haven't already subscribed, why not?
Yeah, how's it possible? Are there people who didn't subscribe to you? For me, I got one subscription.
I think that might have been me, actually.
No, it wasn't you. That's the worst thing.
Oh. Have I not subscribed to your channel yet?
No. So if there's a second one, I will know it's you.
Yeah. Or it might be somebody that's watching now. What's your channel on YouTube?
I thought it was coaching, like the name under my name.
Oh, okay, coaching.
Yeah, and if it's not, it's Robert van Kooten. It's one of those. I'm not sure. I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to search for it now, because otherwise I'm going to echo again.
So we'll put a link up with that then, with your YouTube channel.
I will do it next time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So let's see what's going to come in today. We just don't know. It's a Friday at 4 o'clock, and it's fun time.
And it's Friday the 13th. I don't know how it's in England. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And so we think that the space fairies already are there, and you had some upgrades on the.
Yeah, we should talk about that, shall we?
And yes, and one of the upgrades was on the bees. Next time I close my eyes.
Here we go. Your dialect is so funny, because it's so interlinked with the space fairies, which is that element of fun. Because I must say, actually, from an ego perspective, Robert, it actually is a very, very crazy dialect, isn't it?
It is. But the ego should be set aside so that then there's nothing matters.
Yeah. And that's no point of judgment or anything like that, because I do the D's as well, and when I do it, I have that inner point of want to laugh. But that's actually, maybe that's where my upgrade is that I actually, it's the lesser wanting to laugh with that dialect now. Although when you do it, I
yeah, but I must say this time it was really like only disease, and normally there's a mixture of what I'm doing. So I was talking about your upgrade, but probably I had the same upgrade. So it was more just plain disease. So different for me as well.
It's like a concentrated thing.
Yeah, only one dialect, not a mixture of them in one.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting as well. What was we talking about in the beginning? My upgrade.
Your upgrade. It must be your socks. You didn't put 2 socks on this time, huh? That you just showed off that you had 1 pair of socks off, but you still have socks on. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I am connected now. I'm connected. So yes, my upgrade the other day, it was quite a weird experience. And I did a little video on YouTube on that, and I think I shared it off to Facebook. But it was about the experience of upgrading my old blueprint, or my contract, you might want to call it the same sort of thing. But there, I had sort of reached that point where I'd literally completed my contract, and then there was this upgraded Nicola version come in, which sort of gave me this sort of absolute sort of feeling of pure bliss all day long. Like, what's going on? And then when I tapped into my inner guidance, they were basically saying to me is that I've got a new template.
Cool.
And got a gold star and a big tick, and to say that basically that lower aspect of myself was actually gone off. Graduation.
Oh, right. Cool.
Graduation, got a certificate, and then the upgraded version of me has been downloaded into the system.
Cool. So we'll benefit from that because you're downloaded into the system. Also in the Earth grid.
Yes, exactly. So the vibration will be anchored, has been anchored in, and that availability for me to tap into higher levels of consciousness has now been achieved.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
So I've allowed that to really sort of integrate into my system, because I did go through yesterday questioning, did that really happen, Nicola? My ego had to really adjust to it. So anything that we go through, it's important that people are aware that sometimes something happens and then you sit there and go, is that right? Really? And so the ego has to adjust to it. So we need that period of time for the adjustment, and then once that's integrated in, then you're all good to go.
It's like the ego has to is a bit slower and has to take another day to really set its mind to it and accept that it's the change. It's otherwise you lose your ego.
Yeah,
it's too far away.
It's like your ego has to be sort of pulled along.
Yeah,
it is the weakest aspect of ourselves.
Yeah.
It is the weakest aspect of ourselves, and we just need to sort of pull it in to just say, there you go, it's fine, it's all right, it's okay, and that you're not going mad, Nicola, and that yes, you did have your upgrade, and yes. So it's clarifications, it's understanding, and then it's normalizing and embodying it into your system. So it's this sort of process that the ego has to do, catch up, where your higher self, your integration with your higher aspects already know it, but your ego has to settle it within your system. So if you have a healing with someone and then you do it, and at the time you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. Then you get home and then you're like, was that real? But you have that integration period. So it's not only energetic integration, it's the integration of the ego mind.
Yeah.
It's really important. So our conversations to some people would be like, well, what's going on here? But actually it's the ego that needs to catch up with the conversation, not the energy of it, because we're in our energy, but it's other people. It's whether that actually resonates with them in the first place, and also actually are they going to actually integrate that into their system.
I got a question because I haven't seen any questions yet. If I'm looking,
I think there might be some. Don't think on Facebook, but carry on.
Yeah, one of the questions is that in some of your recordings you talk about a time cap. Is that things put in energy, the vibrations are always in a not always they're in a time. Yeah, that if somebody sees the recording later on, the energy is still there.
Yeah, time pocket.
Time pocket, that's the word. Is it always there?
Not the cap. In
the pocket. I have pocket.
Yeah.
You put it somewhere.
Time cap. Time capsule.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just though every single now moment is in the now moment, but it's the now moment in all time and space. So a now moment could be 150 years ago. But the now moment is in that little time pocket, it's in that now moment. So this is how I just sort of see it, really. Some other people may actually sort of see it in a different perspective. But my truth of it is that if it's in that now moment, like this recording is in this now from 4 o'clock to when we finish, that little pocket of time can be accessed. And so if you look at it quantumly, the codes that will come through will actually still be resonant to somebody that's watching it in their time pocket. So our time pocket is different to theirs because they're in a different now moment, but it's still the same moment, but it's layered. It's like overlaid.
Yeah. Okay, cool, because this activated something in my light language.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just look at that. There's some information coming through. So there's a higher level of understanding with the time pocket, they're saying. So they just wanted to sort of interact with that, see what we get through. So it's just downloading. It's downloading. Okay, so I'm just allowing that download. So if anybody gets any eye twitches, it's they're receiving a download of information. So it's almost I'm interpreting it. Okay. It's quite a long transmission, actually. So they're looking at it from a different perspective from the quantum field. So I sort of like explained it's in the now moment in this sort of 4 o'clock till 5 o'clock time slot. And if somebody looks at it from a different time, a replay at say 6 till 7, they're still going to get the same information through within that time pocket. That's what was discussed at a simplest form. Okay, but they wanted to go a bit quantum, I think. Hang on a minute, see what we get through. Because Nicola has to adjust. Big time. Okay, we'll get through. No pressure. Yeah. It is important to see the layers of understanding dependent on the light quotient or frequency of the individual soul, meaning when there is an understanding, a layer of understanding within the egoic mind structure of the human aspect, there is a layer of connectivity to the quantum field of reality. Hang on, it's getting a bit complicated. So they're just telling me to settle down. Okay, bye. Dessuno mi occhiotto. So the higher the level of the frequency allowance, so the more that you can tap into the level of information coming through, will then give you a template of understanding at a deeper level in a subconscious mind state, and then what needs to progress into the evolution of the soul as an egoic mind, human aspect, into a conscious way of thinking. So some information may come through, but it will be downloaded in a subconscious. But the more that you're able to tap into higher levels of consciousness will then determine the understanding at a conscious level of a human perspective. So Nicola actually understanding it from Nicola point of view, I then have a layer of understanding. But in a subconscious level of understanding, within that transmission that you gave in this time pocket, will actually travel across all time and space. So it's accessible to everybody. Okay. So the information that we bring through, if we claim it as ours, no, it can't be claimed. It has to be extracted from the consciousness, which is accessible to all. But because Robert can access it, he brings it through. But what they're saying is it's the accessibility to the information that does not mean it is yours to keep. It is the collective's energy that you're tapping into. So it's important for us to know if we have been given a contract, a blueprint, like a mission, it can be held by many, many people. And it's almost like a race that actually, it's like Starseed U. It's like we've drawn down on the information that's been given because we could access that information, that there needs to be an online call system that's accessible for a lot of people at a low cost. There'll be another sort of group of people that are actually working on the same template because they're drawing down the same information. Doesn't mean to say that we've got rights over it. Anybody's modality. And then this is why people put different labels on things, different titles on things, but they're still doing the same thing. It's like Reiki. It could be spiritual healing. It could be angelic Reiki. It could be, everybody might put like a little label on it to say that that's my modality. But no, it's everybody's.
Exactly.
It's quite an old template. It's an old paradigm of putting a claim on something. So they wanted everybody to know that the information that comes through is not your information. It is the collective information that you're accessing. So the information, so like your heart activation information can be downloaded by anybody if they can tap into it. But it doesn't make it yours, but you would put your name to it because we're in an old paradigm at the moment, and then we shift through. But everybody would be able to tap into that information. And if you're bringing some information forward, and you're pushing it, way showing it through like a way shower, you're bringing it through first. It is there for us to hold, but not to make it ours. So it's So they wanted us to know, and this is what we spoke about when we're doing cryotherapy together, the energetic emotional therapy.
Exactly.
Is that we're working together with Zach Hayter, getting some modules together. But there's no contract, there's no copyright, there's no contract between you, me, and Zach, because everybody can gain the information through. And so when we sort of push through into the new paradigm of spiritual work, it is not necessarily that we have to have copyrights over it or a title over it. And so my guys are sort of saying is that we need to have a trust and an understanding of that when we work with other people, because you get to that point of state of evolution that you can't lie. You can't.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you say that's my word and that's what I'm going to be doing, that's your word and that's what you're doing. So the old paradigm of the old systems of suing people because they've taken your stuff is actually going to be going out the window. It's going to hang around for a bit because we're shifting from one to another. But the trajectory of the evolution of working and having copyrights over the information actually is going to lessen as the evolution of consciousness actually evolves.
Love it. Yeah. I see that Spinwheel says, wow, this was so reaffirming. I was wondering about this exact point earlier. So but you didn't ask the question, but I still answered that, Spinwheel. Which is good.
Yes. And also we've got a butterfly, dragon, phoenix, great name. Hello. Love the emojis.
Yeah, and she even got a new hi, yes, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So it's for us to sort of say, so if somebody's written a book and they've actually documented it down and it's in paperback and you've got a copyright on it, then it's going to be formalized that comes through that sense of like a filter. It is then the work of that individual that has actually achieved that work. Do you see what I mean? So if somebody sort of copied somebody's work in regards to photocopying every single word for word, copied the course over, and they took it as their own, it holds a different resonance.
Exactly. That's the thing you said last time when we were talking with Zach, is that if somebody connects to the field up, the higher field, and get the information, then that's his. Then he makes something himself. It's his translation. But if somebody just copies our course, then the information and the energy will change, and that course will be of a different level.
Yeah.
So the copyright is more based on a vibration. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's if it's authentic to you, that that's your work that you brought through, and you have your sense of filter that's going through because it's coming from you. It's not that it's the content; it's the way that you put it forward. So the way you put it forward would actually hold a resonance of your work. Somebody else comes along and actually copies that word for word, holds a different vibration, therefore it won't hold the same sort of information coming through. So it's a different shift of information that if you're actually downloading something from consciousness, it's because it's there for everybody to download. You're not sort of, there's not bringing anything new. It's just available. It's just whether you can tap into it or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is Madalena that I actually spoke to yesterday. Beautiful soul. Welcome. She's so wonderful. She was actually speaking yesterday on a live that I did with Robin and David Starr and Bonnie, and Madalena was on there, and she's so lovely. We'll have to maybe get her on and have a little chat with us one day. That would be really good. But she holds such a beautiful resonance, and we was doing this thing about dragon, which we're doing next week actually. So that's that. Right, let's have a look and see who's on Facebook. So we've got Fiona, Brett. Oh, we've got Patty from the other day.
Oh, Patty, hi.
From the group healing. Warren's on. Hi, Warren. Energies together are amazing. Yes, they are. Me and Robert, we get on really well. Most must ask me the question. Send this information. I will add him. What's that mean? Sorry. Can you see that?
We asked him if he had a question because he sent a heart, and then you said.
Oh, he did, didn't he? I did.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Warren. Yes. Okay, we'll have a little look at that. So if you can pull that up, Robert, that would be really good. Oh, this is it. Oh, hi, Dan and Julia Stubby. Yeah, spoke to Julia the other day. She's really lovely. She really, she's got loads of lovely information. See, this is things. Julia tapped into this information about the heart. So that's what I was actually speaking to her about, actually speaking to you about. Anyway, so Robert, Warren, so on the 11th, it was so heavy and the ringing, I had to take a nap. And this is really funny because we just had a conversation about this, Warren. And I woke up at different energy timeline, not sure, but I am vibrating higher for 2 days now. Ringing is very loud. Always had an upgrade.
Of course, yeah. And he's also asked a question a bit later on in Facebook that if the user, how do you say that? If the so the energy matches the user on my information, and I think that the answer is of course yes, because you always are attracted to the energy, but what we were talking about was merely if somebody, we don't own anything anymore. We don't. There's no need to own it anymore, like with copyrights and stamps and contracts and all this 3D activations. And so, and even when you're now upgraded since 2 days, must feel like it that there's trust, that you believe in what's happening, that you believe the information which you're connected to or getting into, and there's no need to secure that anymore. So lawyers will get unemployed probably, and massively, and all this paperwork which I'm not really liking, is that there's no need for it anymore, because there's trust, there's energy, there's belief, there's upgrades, and everything is moving on like that. And there was some.
Sorry, there's boundaries.
There
are boundaries, aren't there? You know.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you also added that it's that we can't lie anymore. So this is all energy straight from the heart. And with this higher heart energy, there is no possibility to. It is, of course, you can still cheat people, but you have to really work hard to cheat, and it will be sensed. That people can feel that vibration. That's not clear. That's not sincere and not authentic. So there's a lot of changes, and all the people who get those upgrades or downloads and upgrades, they will shift into this higher form of energy, which is more like bliss, like you. And but there was also something coming already, like
Okay. No comment. So this may affect other people as well. So if it does, and your eyes start to flutter, then this information is coming through you as well. So if you get any information, please share. I'm just gonna have you hanging on in there, just looking like. I keep hearing that repeating in the background again, Robert. It's because that high resonance, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
It's a little time delay. Do you know what? It's all like that. I just taken offline then. I've forgotten what you just said.
So shall I repeat it? It felt like a heart activation for me. It was like my
glazed eyes. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it felt like a heart activation from my side on, and in my heart area. It was really like powerful, opening the heart, and it even felt like the frequency was coming out of the heart. So it was really interesting.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm not getting any information. I've taken it, but I've not got anything to say as a result of it? Because I said
maybe it's on soul level. It's okay.
Maybe it's a soul level. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Warren liked that information. Patty says yes, great info. Jason is watching, and so is Lynn. Hi, everybody. So the energy matches the user. Yeah, so it's basically that. Yeah, so when you are resonating at a certain level, the information you get through will be adjusted to the information you get through. So if you're completely asleep to any of this information, it's just going to go right over your head. If you're introduced into it and you start waking up to the fact that you're more than a physical being and that you are a multidimensional, and that we can tap into all those aspects of yourself, then you'll start having a layer of understanding. There'll be this sort of, hang on a minute, I think I know this information, but I'm not quite sure. And then as your vibration increases, then you then have extra accessibility to greater understanding. So it comes in layers. So it's like layers fall away through your trauma, your energetic field, it goes, but also it comes in layers. So you have an understanding of from that side to this side, you're coming out with the old in with the new. So there are layers. Everything that happens in layers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We think we got it, and then they come back with another lot of information. You're like, oh, hang on a minute, more information with that. Oh, we've got Marcus joining us as well.
Hi, Marcus.
Hey.
And I see Patty asked a question: how does one find out their dragon's name? Meditation question.
Yeah. See, have you got any information on that before I butt in? Because I've been talking quite a lot.
No, but if I say something, you don't listen. So
this is true. I will sit my. Well, I had that download and I was taken offline, so then I couldn't get the information through. It's just like Nicola's. Right, carry on.
No, I think the answer was already given. Meditation is a good one to get into the feeling, because it's your own frequency which is connecting to the dragon energy, and then the name will pop up. I'm really bad at names. I'm really I'm not interested in mostly the dragon names or the planetary names. It's the frequency it comes or it doesn't come. But I think that most people do it with meditation.
I think you're right, actually. I think from a human perspective, we like to put a label on it. We like to say, that my name is Nicola, your name is Robert, and then we've got Patty, his name is Patty, and we see each other in separation because there's a label, a name stuck on it. And sometimes, and this is my truth in it, is that I don't actually get names for beings that I'm working with. Maybe it's just in my template. A lot of people do. So if you feel that you want to ask a name and you like getting names and that's your path, then you will get absolutely names given to you during meditation. Actually, on next week on the thing that I'm doing on the Tuesday, on the Monday, they're actually bringing the dragons forward. So if you want to tap into that, I'll sort of share that. So check out on my page that I'll be in on the Tuesday, but on the Monday they're bringing in the dragon stuff, and I'm just going to be doing the integration of it. But absolutely, the dragon energy. So everything we tap into is energetic. So whether it is fairy energy, dragon energy, any sort of star being energy, anything, absolutely anything, mantoids, insectoid, bees, whatever it is, the energy of it is coming from that template of information that is we're connected to. So we may put a form or a picture or a label or an image to that. It might be shown to you in a certain way. So you might get like when my dragon come up, it was this big sort of like big vision of this energy that came forward, and it's sort of shown a projection of energy. So it takes a form for me to understand what is it that I'm actually working with. And when you sort of look into different dimensions and different layers of understanding, then the form of that individual would be seen, and it could actually be seen in a different light. It could be shown in a different way, but it's how your mind conceptualizes it. So with the information that you get, sometimes they may show you a certain scene for you to have a resonance with, an understanding of what it looks like. And it may not be totally what it looks like in reality. It could actually be very different.
You know that the light around your head is getting green again. Serious.
It's getting even brighter, actually. I can see it on Facebook. It's going. I don't know why.
That's upgrade. Another upgrade.
So if anyone's got any sort of questions that Robert and I can sort of tap into, if you've got any issues that there is that are sort of going, then, you know, sort of come in and we're sort of do a bit of tapping into your energy with your permission and start doing some information for you. So thank you. Yeah, so labels, Patty. Oh, well, Patty keeps on getting booted out of here. She's going to watch it on replay. So yeah, welcome back, Patty, when you come back into the call. So okay, let's just tap in and see if we get any information that's going to come through for people. I feel something sort of brewing in the background here. Wait a minute. So it's imperative that people actually look at their own self rather than judging from other people's perspective. Why don't I get this because that person gets it? So that's another little subject really for us to sort of look at. It's not a case of comparing. If you walked down the high street and you went into a baker's, you go and pick up loaves of bread. You go into a flower shop, you go pick up your flowers. And there's a butcher's and a candlestick maker's. Yeah, every single shop that you would go to holds something that they create. And so this is what they want us to understand, is that everybody will hold their own template. Everybody will hold their own little bit of jigsaw puzzle, their own little shop of goodies, their own creation. And so there's no comparison between a flower shop and a butcher's or a candlestick maker's shop. They're all very different, but they all serve a purpose. They're all part of that big collective of the high street. And so whatever happens, if somebody actually resonates with actually going to buy a bunch of flowers for their mum for Mother's Day, they go in the flower shop. So nobody's any better than anyone else just because they play that key. So that's just will come through as well.
Everybody's unique. So everybody, and without that single being, the universe wouldn't be complete.
Yeah.
So that's how I always say it. Beautiful, right? Yeah, but that's how I feel it. It's like, so everybody is unique and has his own gifts and tools and energy and vibrations and understanding of it. But missing that single part, the universe wouldn't be complete and wouldn't be functioning like it is. So everything is right.
Everybody's important.
Yeah. So and we our egos on Earth in the 3D were brought up and educated to compare and to see and to be jealous and things. So that's all what's been being made bigger. So I'm happy that we're going to the 5D because then we don't need it anymore. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, the thing is that that I sort of really note with it from my process is that everything needs to be detached from. And there was a subject I was just actually talking to somebody just before I came on the call with somebody, is that absolutely everything, as you raise your vibration, you come into this world with nothing and you go with nothing. But in between, we become so attached. So attached to everything, you know, we become attached to our house, our car, you know, relationships, whatever it may be, you know, the ring on your finger, whatever it is, you become attached to belongings, to materialistic things, and people around you. But what happens is as you raise up, as you ascend through the process, it is a case of letting go of the attachment to all of those things, and you just let go. The more that you can let go of the attachment to things and people and stuff, the more you create, because it comes in from a flow point. But it is not yours.
No,
it stays with you, because when you go, you go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's if you are in that part, then everything is more in trust and belief, and that everything is right. And then because then you can then there's space to create and to yeah.
Absolutely. And that's that's an important sort of journey in understanding, is that the more you can let go, it doesn't mean to say that you're not going to have them in your life. It just means that you're not attached to it contractually, in a blueprint, in a contract. It's just an understanding. It just is. It's just like what we just spoke about, having a copyright for your modality or something. Somebody pinched your modality. No, it is fluid. It flows through us. It is not ours to keep. Exactly. This might be my little dress that I'm wearing here. You might want to borrow it, Robert, one day. But,
of course, yeah.
but
especially with the flowers.
Flowers, exactly. But it's attracting the bees.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking that.
But what happens is that, yes, it is mine, but it's momentarily mine. It has a worth because it's energetic. I've had an energy exchange that enabled me to actually purchase it, and that's just the way the reality is actually is experienced in this physical form, in this now moment. But actually, this, when I'm actually gone, or when I'm actually fed up with this little dress, it goes. It might be recycled onto somebody else to actually use it, or it might be, it might be just sort of, put in the bin if it needs to be put recycled. Let's go with recycle, shall we? Yeah. But everything needs to be let go of, so that we can bring in the new.
Yeah. So if you completely, is it an English word, disattached?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you completely disattached, then you're completely free, and then there's more space in you to get more light inside of you. Therefore, there are more downloads getting into you, or possibly getting into you. So there are more things, how do you call them? Things achieved. So you get in a higher energy, in a more speedy way. So it's very interesting to get rid of all those. And for me, it started with feeling that everything, or every person in my surrounding with negative energy, they had to go. And that's what I did for as a starting. So then there was more positive energy, equal or higher, and that was okay. And lower energies, they had to go, even if it was my work or whatever. And therefore there was more space coming in to get on a higher level, and then to elevate a bit easier.
I think the other thing is that what the conversation I was having, like I just said before, was is that also that we need to see it, that if we've not learned our lesson by a relationship, then also we need to actually look at that as well. Because if it's mirrored to us and we just get rid of it because it no longer serves us, because it actually upsets us, why is it upsetting you? Why is it triggering you? To allow you to actually see it for what it is, and then clear it, and then let it go, and then put it in your life. So it's not about pushing it away because it no longer serves you, because it triggers you.
No, you're completely right. Yeah, and I did my inner work with it. That's you can't go around that. Yeah.
No, you can't. And so the conversation we had with this particular person was absolutely, is that what we need to do is, yes, it may no longer serve you, but it doesn't trigger you. You look at that person and you say, you know what, you can scream and shout all you like, but actually I'm not going to react to it at all, because it doesn't affect me anymore. There's no emotional response to you screaming and shouting. I just watch you. I just see like this little child kicking and screaming and kicking your feet about a bit. When you get to that point, then absolutely, then energetically and contractually you've actually let go of that person or that situation that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
That person keeps on kicking and screaming, but it still affects you, then they're still actually showing you, they're giving you a gift by saying, yes, I can feel that I'm actually getting really angry because you're acting in that way. So so the disattachment to relationships still need to be worked through.
Of course, and the other person is giving you a gift because it's showing you that there's still work to be done inside of you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we've got Zola, Sue Ram is watching as well. Hi, Sue. So she said, so true, Nicola. Come with nothing, and then we go. Yeah, we go everything. So go with nothing. All we experience are upgrades. Yeah, absolutely. The journey while we're here is to experience from a human perspective, and the expansion of our understanding of who we are then actually upgrades us into another level of connection and into that. So yeah, absolutely.
But she's also telling that her dad died 2 weeks ago, which I'm sorry for her.
Yes. Could go and could not even go to see him, but he has gone for transformation. Yeah, bless you. Yeah, absolutely. So if there's so if we have lost somebody that is that has that, we have that grieving process to normalize the energetic response of not having that energy in your life. So there's that disattachment from the person that's passed, that you have to, so you work through those feelings and energetically and emotionally how to actually come to terms with that loss. That in itself is a journey, isn't it? But yeah, as people pass, they transform and they move forward, and it's that cycle of so we are born into the world, we pass into the next level of understanding, and the more that we can experience that grieving process of actually that it is the physical body that goes and it's not the energetic. The aspect of the soul is still going to be around. It still can be tapped into. And the more that we raise our vibration, the more we can still connect. I connect all the time with my nan and granddad and people that have passed. You can have that absolute connection with people that have been in your physical life with you. But we can tap into those moments and those times that we can actually have access to that soul blueprint, which in turn actually helps us through that grieving period of time, and it can be very, very difficult while we're going through it. But the more that we know that we are energy and we're infinite beings, we're infinite, then it's only the loss of the physical vessel.
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with the disattachment we were talking about, but that's only now it's forced.
It's forced disattachment, yes, absolutely. Because there's that loss, that sense of loss, because of that physical vessel isn't with you anymore. The energetic can certainly be connected to, but when we disconnect from relationships, we can still have them in our lives, but it makes it an easier process to know that the resonance of it actually it simplifies. Everything simplifies. The more you vibrate at a higher level of understanding and tapping into those levels of consciousness, it's very paradoxical because everything gets a little bit more complicated, but at the same time it simplifies from a human perspective. From the human, it becomes simpler to understand, but if more that you push into higher levels of understanding, it becomes more complicated. But if we can let go of stuff, people, relationships, experiences, the more that we can do that, when we move through and expand into another experience, it's an easier process to navigate emotionally.
Can I add something to that? And
Yes.
don't go offline then. Okay.
Okay. That was really lovely. That was for a lot of people out there with their hearts.
Yeah.
Again, that was for others. I was getting it was just a soothing energy for people's hearts with if there's any loss that is within people's hearts. So if you didn't really tap in very well to that and you've had that experience, then I invite you to come back and replay that and listen to that download that Robert's giving there, because that will actually help you disattach that from your heart just a little bit more, just to, it's a bit of heart healing there. Thank you for that. That was lovely. So it's from the ego mind that we grieve. Energetically, it is within the template that it's an upgrade, which is absolutely beautiful because they've experienced.
So yeah, Sutton, can you please express what kind of help you need? A bit more specific.
What was that one?
So yeah, she says, I need help, but I would love to help if it's a bit more clear on what.
Okay.
Or maybe it's the heart.
Who was that? Sorry, Robert?
That's Zoia. So yeah, ZOIA. Sutton.
Let me just have a little look. How can we disconnect from someone that you think you love and doesn't serve you anymore? Emotional pay, very difficult. I find it. So she finds it very difficult that if you're attached still emotionally to somebody, it's because that experience isn't played out right yet. As in that, so our experience when we're here on earth is that we come in with a blueprint and an understanding that we're going to experience A, B, and C within that lifetime. And within that, we then have these contractual experiences with these different people, these different aspects of souls. And so when you come in, and if there's an issue with those individuals, then it's about your soul learning and expansion with the integration and the interplay with those aspects to enable you to learn from those experiences. So if you energetically haven't disconnected from that template, from that, there might be a cord that's attached to the heart. There might be some sort of a contract. It might be even through all time and space. And this is why it's important to do a lot of heart work, is because then we can actually clear those cords from those individuals. So if you still have a connection to someone, it's normally because it's still in your blueprint, it's not been cleared. So when you go in, it's about actually really going into that heart space and allowing yourself to let go energetically of people. But that is just a process. You can't force anything. This is what's really important to say as well. So you cannot force anything to occur before you're ready for it. So when you're ready for it, it will come. And it's about understanding that process will occur when you're ready for it, not a case of forcing it. So, for instance, when I left my husband, bless him, when I first left, absolutely, I still felt that in my heart that there was that attachment. As I worked through the process of disconnecting from him, then I enabled myself to get to a point now that we're talking really nicely now. We can go and we're actually people, you know, in sort of, we can sort of actually be in the same room without arguing. So the disattachment from the experience and the emotion has been disconnected. Coming from, has to come from both parties. So if I actually am in the same room as him, I don't feel any emotional states there. He feels a little bit in this direction, say, and then that's about him actually clearing it from here. But from your perspective, if you've actually done your clearing, then that disattachment is only actually coming from his perspective. But then that's when then you have to do your inner work to let it go. I hope that's making sense.
Yeah, I think so. And what I can add something, because so he also said that she had no job and a family. For me, it's recognizable that that's a part in which you get into the deepest part for you to do all the processes, which gives space to really get inside, see what's left from you of you, and then climb up and get more enlightened. So it's like a big opportunity. I would look at it now. In the beginning, it wasn't like a big opportunity. It was like a big dark cloud. But see it as a big opportunity. See it as something which is very positive. Which it is a new starting point on a new time frame in your timeline.
Absolutely. So yeah, when I've spoken about this before, is that when I left in January, I left with the dog and a suitcase full of clothes, and so I left everything that I had manifested throughout 33 years of marriage, and it's a long time that all of that stuff that I had has been left behind. And so then so you have to, it's like stripping back everything, stripping back absolutely everything, letting go of everything, having no attachment to anything. And when you've done that, then you then get your upgraded version of you, because it's like a certificate to say, yeah, there you go, well done, you let go of everything, you have no attachment to anything. So therefore what you create from now on is actually what you want energetically. So you have free reign, you have no contractual issues unless you bring those contractual things in from that standpoint. So when you tap into that level of consciousness, you let go of all of those attachments, let go of all of those ties, and then you get presented a new blueprint, fresh start. And so how am I actually going to move that forward to create my new reality? So you're going for it. So it's almost like a rebirth. And the opportunity of when everything just is taken away from you is that your higher self is saying, we want to strip it right back. And sometimes it's really, really forced. It's shoved in your face that you lose everything. You lose your job, you lose this, you lose that, you lose, everything. You lose it all. But then at that point is, what do you do at that point? And it is there is the absolute gift. But it's how you see it. Is that you use it, like you just said, Robert, is it an opportunity? Is it an absolute opportunity? Or do you go into despair and emotional states where you keep yourself in a cycle?
Yeah, because if it's emotions are just energy, and if you don't realize that it's just simply getting the emotions through you and give them to Mother Gaia, and don't get stuck in them, then it's an opportunity. If you get stuck in them and you get these attached in this emotion, then it can be a really hard lesson. And you also wrote, I saw that you already had done this once. Maybe there were still some attachments there. That's a possibility. Or maybe this is on another level. That's also a possibility. But I still feel it feels for me like a huge opportunity. So maybe you can always contact me or Nicola on that topic on the side from this question and answer. But there are massive parts of help. Your November energy is going to help on this. I believe there's so many ways to find a way to see it as a positive chance, an opportunity for you.
Yeah. It's the mindset, isn't it? It's the mind, it's the ego, the ego that will keep you in a cycle. And if you can let go of the ego, the emotional state, and then work through it, it sounds really easy once you're, but it's hard to do at the time.
And the other thing, the other thing is that everything is always right.
Yeah.
So if you believe that, why is this happening to me? Because it's right, it's needed, it's bringing you somewhere you have to be, and without this you wouldn't get at the point you need to be, which is the right point. So everything in the universe is always exactly at the right moment in time and rightful, even if we don't believe it on Earth here. It's majestic, I would say, magnificent, beautiful, orchestrated, and it's perfect. It's better than we can even think of.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything, and there's something that on the very beginning of when I changed and shifted out of that old comfortable position of where I was at, is that there was something that was given to me, which was through Louise Hay, and I was listening to Louise Hay saying that everything will always work out for my highest good. And it is absolutely right. Your higher self will not want you to go through the pain. Your ego will keep you in the pain. Your human perspective with the emotional state attached to it will keep you in pain and trauma. But when you let go of the emotional state, when you let go of the mind, the ego, step into your heart, then you start working on that everything that works will come through for my greater good. And you keep that in your mind and you focus on that, not about the trauma and the experience. Because when you focus on that, you're keeping yourself in your mind because you keep seeing it. You keep seeing that what you don't have. And so when we energetically see ourselves in that, I surrender to my higher self because my higher self is me. My higher self does not want anything more than actually the best for me. When I let go of me, Nicola Russell, I watch myself from a higher perspective and I say, okay, I see that you have a greater plan for me. I'm just going to go along for the ride. You show me where I'm going. I'll accept it. Come in. I'll accept everything that you bring for me. And when I've experienced that, then I go, right, okay, there's another little lesson there. There's a cycle there. There's something there. So it's about the recognition of that journey that enables you to start to clear all of that stuff that you need to let go of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about trust, surrender, that your inner guidance, your heart will always show you the way you need to go. And me and Robert can sit here all day long and speak about this, but until you actually go inside of yourself and let go of everything, then and really focus on what the universe is giving you, you're going to still keep in the cycle.
And maybe listen to this recording again, because the light language directed to the heart space was also helpful. So maybe listen to it a couple of times. If the ego still lets you believe that it's hard, listen to the words of Nicola just said and repeat the recording, and then the energy will come into the right place.
Mm-hmm. It's layers of understanding.
Yeah.
Because I could watch something like this when I was completely unawakened to this understanding, and it would have gone right over my head. And it doesn't mean to say that I'm actually, that I was stupid. It's just that I didn't actually understand it. But then, as you start to then move through it, you start to have layers of understanding. And so then, don't beat yourself up for it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And there's nothing else that you can do by just saying, okay, cool, let it be. If you've got a roof over your head, water, and food to eat, then they're the things that keep you alive. Okay, and if you've got those three things, as my guide always said to me in the very beginning, was that, have you got food in the cupboard? Yes, I have. In this now moment, I've got something to eat, and I'm safe. That's it.
Yeah.
And there are some souls that are actually homeless out there. And then what about that? And sometimes it's actually an experience that you signed up for, that you ticked a box to say, yes, I'm in that place because I want to experience the absolute depths of despair. And that is in your template of experience. You know, there are things that happen which are very, very dark to people, you know, going through those traumas. But everything, when you surrender and forgive and you move through it, will enable you to work through that trauma. And that's a really hard subject to actually touch on today, isn't it? But it is. Everything that happens will always be there. And it's in your template to experience it, no matter what.
Mm.
And I'm talking about really dark, nasty stuff here, but it's the human experience that can be really, really very dark and, you know, sort of pull you down into the depths of despair. The darkest, deepest emotional states can be experienced. But always, when you step into your heart, you always will be guided through the process. There's a story of Kuan Yin, which is a beautiful feminine saint, that she experienced masses of, you know, terrible things that happened in her life, and she went through the process of letting go of the trauma and the emotional states, and she then became this amazing ascended master through the process within that single lifetime, from coming from the depths of despair, from trauma, the darkest of dark things that she experienced when she was at a young age. But she worked through her stuff, and she went through and she became stronger. And then she sort of led the way to enable people to really sort of follow her teachings through that process. And it is forgiveness.
It's also the story about the lotus flower. It has to be in the mud to get to life and flourish. So it's what we're all saying in different ways is that look at the light and don't focus on the dark, and realize that that if you're in the lowest point of the valley, you can only go up. And be grateful, because this is just a huge opportunity to get rid of the old system and move into the new one.
Yeah.
Feels for me like still normally I can sense in my heart if it's something which is negative, and it doesn't feel anything like it. I can feel the ache, the hurt, but it's not negative.
The thing is the trajectory of this earth in this timeline is that we make that, you know, that the whole journey is that we ascend. We're just working through the trauma right now. We just it's like you've got a great big book, and the book has been written. The book has been written. This particular book that we're working through, as we turn each page of that now moment as it comes and arises, so every single now moment is absolutely perfect. So every single person has their own book, their own now moment they're experiencing, but they're at the end of it, that everything is perfect within that book. Everything works out. Everything is as it should be, regardless of the experience. And as you see that every time that book ends, and you may present yourself with another book, is that when you come in again, the more you can do your inner work, the more you clear the trauma, the experience, the humanness, to raise yourself up more into consciousness that gives you higher experiences. So it's the emotional states that keep you in the low.
Yeah.
It keeps you in your mind, because the mind creates emotions. When you're in your heart, it's bliss. it's neutrality, that you get joy. There's peace, there's calmness. So it's stepping into the heart. This is the place that we need to focus on, that gives us this. This keeps us low. And
Exactly. Yeah.
it's detaching from the emotion.
Yeah.
The experience will always be written in your book. At the very beginning of your journey, if something happened in your childhood, it will always be written in the book. But it's the energy of that moves forward, that enables you to start shifting and changing the book, rewriting your book, enable you to actually have a higher timeline of experience. Once you've let go of the emotion attached, it's not the experience, because it's always going to be there. It's how you see that experience from an emotional state. There's a big difference there. And when you look at it from the heart perspective, not the mind perspective, then you disassociate from an energetic point. It's probably not disassociate, is the right word, disattach from the emotional state, because you've worked through it and you've cleared it. And it's all energy, it's all energetic. You're letting go of the density to enable you to bring in the light in replacement, which raises the vibration. So it's this sort of cycle that we go through, that we have to let go of the emotional state that's held in the energetic body and the physical body, as well as in the template that's actually sort of that we work to in the quantum field. And that enables us to disconnect from an old ending to your book and rewrite your new one.
In a few seconds, it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 live. The timing now.
So, okay, let's have a little look and see what else is there on here on Facebook. So Paula Louise Jasper Osborne, I've discovered very recently as an undercurrent or root cause of some of my anxiety is that I fear losing people. So that's the working through your own empowerment. Deeply she's feeling that, and I think about it and it brings me such an emotional pain. And it is, Paula, the point of what I've just been speaking about. It is actually working on yourself, getting yourself to a point of empowerment, that then you don't need to draw on the energy of others. Because when we look outside of ourselves and we see somebody else is actually going to be doing all this stuff for you, then you actually give your power away to that person, and then you have that attachment to them.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start working on yourself and you become, and you know, and you remember who you are, and you are in such empowerment, then you won't worry about that other person leaving you, because they're in their own right, they'll be over there, and you're standing here so strong that actually, if you do, you do. If you don't, that's amazing. I love, and then you'll attract that person to come back to you.
If you still want that.
If you still want that, you might lift it out of it and go like, no, I'll get an upgrade. Hope that makes sense, Paula.
Yeah. I see Nikki Summer is also there.
Yes, Nikki. Hi, Nikki. And yes, so she's been running a fear of being seen and heard. Again, it's fear. The core emotional states are fear, anger, and sadness. And with that, that's what we need to work through. So your core wound, Nikki, is fear. Most people's is fear.
Yeah.
And we just need to look at what we're scared of. What is it what we're scared of? And doing that deep introspection, deeply inside. What is it? Show me, show me, show me. Let me let it go. Let me let it go. Show me again. Let me go. And then again, you just start letting it go. And then
for me also helps is if you think that you've found the layer of fear, there's always another layer under it. So you can
yes, there
go
is.
down there, go down there, go down there. So finally, probably, in my belief system, there's only one fear, and that's the fear of dying. In the end, everything is on top of
things, then there's no worry about it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's mostly what it's all based on.
Yeah, a lot of people are fearful of dying, but actually, if it's just the physical body going, you're going back up for an upgrade. because you've actually had an experience. It's like going to a university, and you're going in and you've completed that particular lifetime. You've learnt so much. Do we need to go back and redo that year? Yes, we do, because we didn't actually learn our lessons, so we come back again.
Yeah.
But when we actually learn our lessons and we energetically disattach, well, then we don't have to come back, because we've upgraded and we can go on to the next year. We go on to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my belief system anyway. So everybody will hold their own. So spin wheel. So what did they say here? There is no specific, I can never say that word, question really, but it would be really cool to hear anything you could tap into I might need to know about. Oh, have we answered any questions with the things that we've already spoken about, spin wheel?
I think. Okay.
Okay. So Zola, the issues there with you sort of keep on repeating the situation again is because that you, because basically, like I've said, it's that the lesson hasn't been learned.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Okay. Right.
Or should be learned on a deeper level.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Denise, hi Denise. I felt so disempowered, Paula said. Yeah, it might be one of your core wounds that you feel it, that mine was big time sort of resentment for a long time. Like resentment kept on coming up for me. So you just got to keep going with it. But the more that you can step into your heart and forgive yourself, first of all, then you then work outwardly from there. So you just go in and just say, no, it's okay. It's okay. Treat yourself like a little child. If you had a child and they was feeling the way you feel, just treat yourself like that, with nurture, love yourself, care for yourself. And then with that, you enable yourself to grow stronger. And then with that, then you then can actually go out outwardly and forgive others.
Yeah.
You have to do your inner work first before you can then change your outer world. So it starts from inside of yourself. Okay.
Okay.
So Denise has had a really big shift, which is great. Well done, Denise. No problem, Paula. I just hope that that sort of helped you. But it is all about your inner work. There's no getting away from it. It can be raw. It can be sticky. It can be really gritty. But it's about going inside and really getting to see how you really feel about yourself. And then that will actually help you. So I have got my little cry therapy, emotional release thing that you may want to have a little look at. That sort of may help you release your emotional states. But but this Friday the 13th transmission has been sort of a little bit about emotions and the heart, isn't it, Robert?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. One last question then, because I'll need to go because I've got a call at 5:30. Is what is the time, by the way? It's 20 past, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's finish off with this quick one here. Krista, how do you conquer trust, Robert?
Wow, that's the last one. Quick one. How do you conquer trust? It has to do with everything we said before in this program. So it's like disattach from everything. Start meditating. Get in contact with your higher self. Understand that there's everything is perfect and everything is meant to be, and it's only for the higher good for yourself. So it's we talked about it in different angles all in this program, but that's the answer. And so I don't know how quickly or how early you joined in, Krista, but if you watch it repeat, everything is on board and it will answer your question, and it has to be doing the inner work. Disattach from everything which is not helping you, and then from there on get into contact, and then the trust is the only thing that's left there.
Yeah. It's about being in body as well, grounding your energy. That's essential. Just to finish off with, making sure that you actually feel that you're in your body, grounding your energy as well. That's really important. Okay. Yeah, watch it on the replay. That's a good idea. So we're going to actually that stage. It's a different energy from last time. It's almost somber.
No, it wasn't somber. It was a serious topic.
Yeah. Relationship, disattachment, letting go of stuff, because there's so much of this actually going through the collective at the moment that that we need to start looking at is, what do we want to create in our life?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's absolute bonus question to end in, is what do you want? And really be really honest with yourself, is what do you want?
Yeah.
Because when you know what you want, then you can work towards that. But all the time that you have trauma, you know what you don't want. So when you know that you've had your trauma and your experiences that create your emotional states, when you've had all those relationships that have worked out, that is showing you what you don't want. So now you know what you don't want. Let's see what you do want. And that's the exciting bit.
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yes, thank
you. Just come in at the end, rewatch it, and we'll put some sort of links up. Check out Starseed U. Robert's got a heart activation course going on very soon. Check out my energetic emotional release, which is linked very closely to Robert's work. And all of the other sort of be aware of your energy, think about your breath work, get into your grounding your energy. All of these things will help you create a firm foundation of who you truly are. But it all starts with inside work. No one's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Cool. Right then. See you all later, everybody. Stay online, Robert, and we'll speak. See you all later. We'll be around next Friday, actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
So any questions, save them up, and then we'll come and speak about it next week. Okay.
Yes,
take care, everyone.